Hey, howdy, hey, welcome back to my channel. For tonight's video, we are going to be reviewing RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14, Episode 5. So if that sounds good to you, make sure to hit that like button, comment down below what you thought about this episode, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Come join the Amateur Hour community. And without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright. So this video will be containing spoilers, just heads up. But, we are gonna go ahead and get into it. Before we do get into it, I want to take a moment of silence, for the fact that we have lost one of the highlights of the season. One of my favorite queens this season, if not my favorite queen this season. The queen who I think should have been up in the top 4, if not winning this season. Cornbread the Snack Jeté. I am honestly so upset that she had to leave. This is for you, Cornbread. I'm lighting a candle in your honor. Hopefully, you'll be back for season 15. Alright, that's done. So I guess now we're gonna go ahead and get into this episode and talk about it. First things first, the queens walk back into the workroom after the elimination of Alyssa Hunter, where they're reading the message and they're, read her message and talking about Alyssa leaving. Then, of course, they're getting on drag, doing the thing. You know how it usually goes. There's not too much that happens in the first part, other than Carrie talking about getting ugly because Carrie was safe, or in the bottom and they told her to get ugly. That was a moment. I don't know if she necessarily did get ugly this episode. But, again, what does getting ugly mean? You know, that doesn't really make sense. Anyways, so that whole moment happens. I'm going to go ahead and get into the next day in the workroom, where they all walk into the table, obviously, and then they're like, oh, Cornbread's missing. I assume they probably knew this because they obviously all go in buses and to the workroom and everything. And I'm sure they knew Cornbread wasn't there at that point. And then, so obviously Cornbread's missing, and then RuPaul comes in and tells them what's going on, and how Cornbread apparently rolled her ankle in the last week's challenge, and because of that, the doctors told her that she needs to not be on her feet for at least 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. So that unfortunately means she can't continue on in this competition. This is honestly some of the most devastating news that I've gotten in a season of Drag Race, because for me, Cornbread was one of the highlights of the season, if not the highlight. And I'm really nervous for the rest of the season because Cornbread brought so much joy and so much to the season. Like, this season was so much Cornbread. And the fact that Cornbread is no longer going to be in the season makes me worried. It makes me really worried. And I'm honestly really sad about this. Like, this was something I was not expecting. Cornbread obviously does a message to the queens and tells them what's going on. She obviously gives a special message to Carrie Colby, Willow Pill, and I think that was it. She might have given one more message. But I'm gonna miss Cornbread so much on this show. I know I'm gonna go on this rant for a few more minutes, but Cornbread is really a special queen. Cornbread is my favorite queen from this season. And the fact that Cornbread isn't going to continue on in this season feels wrong. I hope that Drag Race takes notes from this, because they continue to have queens getting injured. I mean, Victoria Scone, Eureka. Obviously, Cornbread's not the first one. And I just hope that Drag Race takes notes from this, and they take their safety precautions a little bit more seriously for the queens. Because I don't think it's fair to have a queen spend all of this money to come be on the show, get injured, and then have to leave. Like, that's just not cool, you know? Obviously, it's still an amazing opportunity, and I'm sure Cornbread is going to come back for next season. Like, I'd be shocked if she didn't get invited back for season 15. But it's just sad. It's sad to see her go. It's sad to see the competition continue on without Cornbread. It feels like something's missing. And it doesn't feel right. Like, as soon as she left, I was just sad the rest of this episode. Because I'm just like, this is just a really sad moment because I love cornbread. Okay, that was my moment for cornbread. Again, leave a comment down below what you think about all this. We're going to get into the rest of this episode now. So RuPaul has the queens split up into groups where they have to pop a ball on the pit crew and certain glitter colors pop out, I guess that's how you would describe it. They're basically thrusting open the ball. It was a weird balloon. It was a weird moment. We get the group, so there's orange, purple, and green, I believe, were the colors that came from the balloons. So the queens are split up into groups, and then RuPaul announces that they're going to be doing PSAs with first eliminated queens. So we get 3 first eliminated queens back, which are going to be Tempest DeJour, Cotmore Hall, and James Mansfield. Of course, I am a big fan of all of these queens. I think they all deserve All-Stars moments. Like James Mansfield especially. I think James needs to be back on television. But they had this moment, and obviously the groups are assigned with their first outs. So Tempest group is going to be Ingeria, Georges, Deja Skye, and Carrie Colby. Then we get Camora's group, which is going to be Lady Camden, Diabetti, and Bosco. And then finally we get James Mansfield's group, which is going to be Willow Pill, Maddie Morphosis, Orion Story, and Jasmine Kennedy. So those are the groups. Then they have to start writing their PSAs. Their PSAs also have to rhyme, so it's kind of giving you SPCA sort of type thing is what they're going for, like save a queen sort of thing. Because they're like, oh, these queens are sad and they went out and whatever. It was a cute challenge. I will say I enjoyed it. We pretty much get right away into the writing of the scripts and everything. There are a few queens who are struggling, obviously, in Tempest group. The queens who are really struggling are going to be Georges. Georges is very clear from the beginning that she's not super comfortable with the challenge. And I think that's fair. Not everyone is going to be able to do this as well as everyone else. But then you have other queens like Ingeria and you have Deja Skye who are both really confident in the challenge. And I think that group will be able to function pretty well with those two. Then, of course, we get the Cotmore Hall group, which is going to be Lady Camden, Diabetti, and Bosco. And they all seem to work really well together, the 3 of them. Like, it just flows really well. They seem to get along well and just know what they're doing. So that's neat. And also, Cotmore is fun to see back on TV. Obviously, the whole, we were all rooting for you sort of moment. They do that a lot, but it's cute. Then, of course, we get James's group, which is going to be Willow Pill, Maddie Morphosis, Orion, and Jasmine Kennedy. And, again, right from the bat, you can tell Orion is kind of struggling with this, and also Jasmine gives me a little nervous vibes. Anyways, that happens. So they're writing the scripts, then RuPaul does a walkthrough, each group does a walkthrough with RuPaul. Honestly, I kind of want to get to the recording part because that's more where things happen, I guess. When it comes to Tempest group, again, obviously Georges is the one struggling most with it. Carrie's a little nervous with it, and Ingeria struggles a little bit at first. They all kind of struggle at first, but then they seem to get it, or the narrative that the show's telling us, at least, for that group. Then when we get to Camora's group, with Camden, Dia, and Bosco, they all seem pretty confident with it. It all seems to go pretty well. They just flow pretty well. Like I said, they flow really well together. And then finally with James's group, with Willow, Maddie, Orion, and Jasmine. The big struggles here were obviously Orion and Jasmine, who, again, are not the most experienced actors, I guess. But on the other hand, you have people like Willow and Maddie, who are both pretty comfortable with this challenge. So that works. So they did the recording. That's about it. Then we get to the next day in the workroom where they're all getting ready for the show. There are a few moments I want to talk about here, specifically with Willow Pill, the moment she shares with Ingeria and Carrie, where she's talking about her medical condition, and how being at 26 and her body, she feels like her body's already, not functioning the way she wants it to. And I feel like that's something, I've personally grown up with a disability my entire life, so I completely understand where she's I can see where she's coming from. And I feel so bad for Willow. Like, I love Willow Pill. I think Willow is my new favorite queen this season because obviously Cornbread's gone. But that was a really sweet moment. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to these runways and the challenge. Yeah, runways and challenge. Wow, I was struggling there to speak. So for the runways, obviously I'm going to point out a few of my highlights, some of my lowlights, all the above. For the highlights, I really enjoyed Bosco's runway because obviously she started as a rain cloud and then became a sunshine. It was a really cute moment. I really enjoyed her runway. I actually really enjoyed Maddie Morphos's runway. I loved all the rain dripping down. I thought that was really cool. The one part I did not like were the shoes, and those shoes are those shoes have been the shoes Maddie has been wearing the past like 3 episodes, and I'm starting to clock it, and I'm like, Maddie, you need to change it up and wear a different shoe, because those aren't working for me, and I'm clocking it, and it's not great. It's not great for you. Then some of my not so great runways. I was not a fan of Deja Skies' runway. Deja Skies' runway. I like the pastel moment, but I just didn't like this. It was pretty weak for me. I also didn't like Jasmine Kennedy's runway. Because, again, for Jasmine, it feels very much like a bar costume. Like, this feels like something a queen would wear to perform at a bar, not to walk on the runway of RuPaul's Drag Race. And that is something that I'm not enjoying. And then, of course, we get Orion Story's runway. I did not like this. I'm going to be real with you. I did not like this. Orion, are you okay? What's going on here? Are you good? Are you good? But that happens. That's a runway. I also do want to talk about Carrie Colby's, actually. It was a nice, I like the top part of the runway a lot. I loved all the flowers and everything. The bottom felt a little bit forgotten about, and I feel like she needed a little bit more on the bottom to really balance it out, give that full silhouette moment, because if you're so focused on the top, and then the bottom it's kind of forgotten about, it's a little bit missing something, if that makes sense. So those are the runways I want to talk about. Now we're going to get to the groups and their challenges and all the things. First, we're going to talk about Tempest group. Excuse me. Like I was saying in the beginning, obviously the weaker queens were Georges and Carrie were a little bit weaker. This group was fine. Overall, I think the best one in this group was Angeria. I love Angeria. Like, I just think Angeria is an amazing queen, and I'm obsessed with her. So I think she did really well, and I really enjoyed her performance. This group was fun, I will say. It was overall fun. Then we get Morris Hall's group. I think this was the best group. Like I was saying, they all flow really well together. I think they all made Ru laugh, which, again, is the objective of the challenge. Basically, every week your goal is to make Ru laugh. And I feel like Kamora Hall's group did that really well. And then, of course, we get James's group, where, of course, we have queens doing really well, like Willow and Maddie. I think Willow and Maddie did really great. And then you have queens like Orion, who's kind of just flat. And I feel like Orion had just been flat throughout this entire competition and faded into the background, and I was nervous for Orion in this episode, and Orion did not do what they needed to do to really stand out for good reasons this episode. And I think that was a problem for them, and I think that's what led to what happens, obviously. So that was that group. Overall, I thought this was a fun challenge. I enjoyed it. I will say, there was one more thing I really want to talk about. They did let the first out queens come back on the runway, which I loved. I loved getting to see Tempest, James, and Kamora. So we'll go through those looks as well. Tempest's look, I was not crazy about. I love Tempest, but this outfit I was not crazy about. I don't know if that was just me. Let me know what you thought down below. It was just meh. And then, of course, we get James's runway. I love this. I love the pink. I love the wig. You know James styled that wig, because obviously James Mansfield styles wigs. So, of course, James is going to style their own wig. I love that pink blonde bombshell moment. Really, really cute. And then, of course, we finally get Kamora Hall's runway. This was a gag. This was a gag. Again, Kamora really brings it every time on the runway, so I loved that we get to see her back on the runway. Like, we need to bring her back for a season just to get Runways alone, because she is a gorgeous queen. The outfits are stunning. The makeup is stunning. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Kimora. So, now we get to the judging and the placements. The safe queens this week are going to be Diabetti, Maddie Morphosis, Deja Sky, Carrie Colby, and of course, Willow Pill. For me, I would have put Willow in the top because I am obsessed with Willow, but I also think Willow did really well in this episode, so that was just me. Then we get to the tops, and the tops this week are going to be Bosco, Lady Camden, and of course, Angeria. I agree with this top three, I guess. I might have placed Willow there instead of Angeria. Let me know what you thought down below. But for me, yeah, that's how I would have done it. The bottom three are going to be Georges, Orion, and Jasmine Kennedy. This feels correct. They all kind of struggled the most with the challenge. Yeah, it feels correct. So in the end, the winner this week is going to be Bosco. So congratulations to Bosco on getting her first win. Great way to stand out. Great timing to stand out. We are obviously now at like a top 10. So it's a great time to really start making yourself stand out and look really great on the show. And then obviously that means Angeria and Lady Camden are safe. And of course the bottom two this week are going to be Georges and Orion Story. So here we get to the lip sync. Alright, the lip sync is going to be My Head, My Heart by Ava Max, who is, of course, the guest judge. How do I put this plainly? Orion, were you trying? What happened? At one point, Orion's wig started falling off. She took off her shoes. It was so bad. It was so bad. And then you have Georges, who is tearing her up, destroying Orion, did so well. Like, did anyone honestly expect Georges not to make it through this? Leave a comment down below if you did. But for me, it was a clear winner, obviously. And I do feel like it was ultimately Orion's time to go. So unfortunately, Orion did lost the lip sync. And then RuPaul says, "Reveal your chocolate, bum bum bum." And then we get the chocolate, and it's chocolate. So of course that does mean Orion did have to sashay away. Again, it felt like Orion's time to leave. I'm sad to see her go. But, she was a fun queen. She kind of faded the background for me. I don't necessarily see her coming back for an All-Stars. Let me know what you think down below. But I'm still excited for the rest of the season. Next week is going to be a design challenge, including products from an Amazon boxes, I guess. So we'll have to see what that's like. I'm excited, though. I'm excited to see another design challenge. Overall, I'm really enjoying this season, and I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful for the rest of it. Obviously, I'm sad that that Cornbread is gone, but we have to continue on, you know. Anyways, that does bring the end of my review. Let me know what you thought about this episode down below in the comments section. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at SayAmateurHour. Like this video if you liked it. Share it on social media. So hit that subscribe button. Come join the SayAmateurHour community. I will be back here tomorrow with another video. Let me know what you thought about this episode down below in the comment section. Like, share, comment, subscribe, of course. And I will see y'all later. Bye!